through this.
AI in 911 sounds like a dream. Faster triage, less stress for call takers, smarter dispatching. But what if your AI thinks your accent makes you suspicious? Or decides a certain zip code is high risk just because of bad historical data? Yeah, and that's a problem. Today, we're going to talk about how to spot bias when it sneaks into AI, how to kick it out fast, and how to show the public that you're using AI responsibly. And that's coming up next on Tips Today in Public Safety.
Welcome to Tips Today in Public Safety, your go-to podcast for today's breaking stories and public safety news. Here's your host, Fletch, with today's tips.
Welcome to Tips Today in Public Safety. This is Fletch. I'm a certified NEMA ENP, and every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday each week, I bring you the latest news and information about public safety and next generation 911 services and solutions. Today, we're going to be talking about the hidden challenges of using artificial intelligence in 911 call handling. Bias. Where it comes from, how to detect it, how to get rid of it, and how to reassure the public that AI is here to help, not judge. The promise and the pitfalls. AI can be a fantastic co-pilot in the Peace app. It can triage calls faster, catch patterns that humans might miss, and even reduce fatigue for stressed out call takers. But AI is like a toddler with a photographic memory. You need to remember that it remembers everything we teach it. That includes the good and the bad. If our past data has bias, well then AI will happily inherit those bad habits and repeat them flawlessly. Where can bias sneak in? Well, first and foremost, training data. If past 911 calls reflect systemic inequities, the AI will absorb that bias. Garbage in, garbage out. Then there's speech patterns. Someone with a heavy accent or AAVE might get flagged as uncooperative, when really they're just talking normally. Then you've got caller demographics. This is where gender, age, or background might be unfairly tied to call priority. And finally, geography. Calls from certain areas and neighborhoods might be rated riskier. Not because of facts, but because of historical prejudice baked into the data. Imagine Siri deciding that you're angry just because you're from Jersey. Hey, wait a second, I resemble that remark. So how do we catch this stuff before it causes harm? How do we detect bias? Well, first of all, regular audits. Just like you QA your call takers, you need to test the AI on a wide range of voices and scenarios. You need to throw some real curveballs at it. You know, rural accents, non-native speakers, even deep fakes. Then you've got cross-validation. Take your AI decisions to panels of unbiased humans and compare. And finally, dashboards. Look, transparency is absolutely key here. Track false positives, false negatives, and disparities by group. Think of it like a QA test for dispatch. If the AI keeps striking out, it doesn't get to play ball. So how do I remove bias quickly once it's detected? When you do find bias in your system, speed matters. Make sure you have feedback loops in place that let call takers flag bad AI decisions. Patching, apply bias filters while you retrain. Version control is critical. Make sure you keep backup models to roll back to. And then there's independent oversight, where you bring in outside experts in order to keep everyone honest. Think of it like pest control for your AI. The sooner you spray, the fewer bugs you're going to get crawling around. What about training AI in a non-biased manner? Well, building it right from the start is the best fix. You need to use diverse data sets with voices of all ages, regions, and languages. Add synthetic data to balance things out. Make sure that you partner with civil rights and disabilities advocacy groups to cover the perspectives that you'd otherwise miss. And make sure you involve linguists, psychologists, and socialists, and not just coders. The problem is if you only let engineers train the models, don't be surprised when it speaks fluent binary, but then fails human empathy 101. Marketing AI use responsibly to the public. You have to remember that public trust is fragile. In order to keep it, you need to be transparent. Remember to explain what AI does and what it doesn't do. For example, it's not replacing dispatchers. Community forums are a great idea. Let citizens and constituents ask questions before the rollout. As for your policies, remember to publish them in a clear, plain English format so people can understand. And remember to educate with videos and demos. Show how AI is helpful and a co-pilot, not a sci-fi overlord. You need to remember that if you don't tell the story, news reporters and Hollywood will. And in their version, AI usually is the one going rogue. Measuring success. Once you've rolled out AI, how do you know that it's working? As part of your program, make sure you measure certain KPIs. For example, track how call accuracy improves. Make sure that no disparities exist across your different caller groups. Track reduced stress in call takers and show those trends. Measure your public trust factors and make sure it stays intact or even grows. Be sure to track incident outcomes. Ensure that you're seeing improvements through faster responses and fewer mistakes. And be sure to track your continuous improvement, documenting it well, proving that you're learning as you go. Remember that success isn't perfection. It's showing improvement without losing public trust. Additional considerations for adopting AI. First and foremost is the legal and liability side. If AI does screw up, the agency owns it, period. Maintain explainability. Be sure that you can clearly explain why AI made a specific call and the logic behind it. And be sure to future-proof your model. With the use of deepfakes and synthetic voices rising, the AI has got to be able to spot fakery without becoming biased against legitimate callers. Closing thoughts. You have to remember that AI in 911 is like putting nitro in your car. You'll get incredible speed and power, but one wrong move and you're in the ditch. Remember that success isn't no bias ever. Realistically, that's impossible. Real success is having the systems in place to detect, fix, and be transparent when bias does show up. Maintaining public trust is the real finish line. That wraps up this episode of Tips Today in Public Safety. I hope the podcast was educational for you and that you learned a few things new. I know I did. If you like what you heard today, please remember to drop a like and be sure to share it with your friends. And we'd really be grateful if you left a comment to let us know. If you have any questions or want to suggest a topic of your own, you can always reach out to me directly at Fletch911 on social media. Who knows, maybe your idea will be the focus of a future podcast. This is Fletch. Thanks so much for listening. And remember, if you're in public safety, thanks for what you do every single day. Stay safe, take care, and we'll catch you next time.
You've been listening to Tips Today in Public Safety, your go-to podcast for today's breaking stories and public safety news. Hosted by Fletch and available every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on 911tips.com. That's 911tips.com. Be sure to like and subscribe, and remember to join us each week for the latest on NG 911. I am Spider Harrison, the official 911 voiceover dude. Catch me on Sirius XM on various channels, including 90s on 9, the 10 spot, and on the Weekend Countdown on Hits 1. Or don't regret it for the rest of your life. Either way, I'm good.